live on the air. I'm Richard Saile.
This is wild.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Loungetime. I'm your host, Rich Saile, and today we have a wild NFL Week 15 slate that we are going to go over. And we are now at the point where if you're not even in playoff consideration, we're not even talking about you. Even if you're on the way out. However, for those that are still in playoff contention, this is what we call now, you get all the glory until you're out. Now, pretty tough week for me as a Patriot fan. We saw our 10-game win streak end to the Bills, which kind of sucks. Denver wins, so now they're looking like they're going to get the 1 seed. But we also lost 2 superstar players to torn ACLs, which unfortunately sucks. We're going to save Micah Parsons for when we talk about the Packers-Denver game, because that is going to be a big game we're talking about, along with Bills-Patriots. But we're going to start actually briefly with, and this is a quick side note, this is the last time I'm talking about this team for the year, is that Mahomes tore his ACL. Now, you guys claim that I am a Patrick Mahomes hater. I'm not as bad as some other people I know. I'll put it that way. And if you guys think I'm bad, you clearly haven't watched this show very long. And honestly, as far as them going out that particular way, it's not something that I want at anybody. Nobody wants to see somebody go out getting injured that bad the way he did. But if I'm being honest, those people that are already saying, oh, those are good people are going to miss the Chiefs in the playoffs, the ratings are going to suck. No, the playoffs will be fine. It's good that we have new blood in there. It's good that we have new teams finally doing well, which is what the NFL wants. And I love the fact that now my New England Patriots are really good and we're going to finally make it for the first time in 4 years. So I'm happy about that. Now, which is great for me. Now, it's one less team out of the path, the Chiefs, which would be great because now I don't have to worry about them or their delusional, nauseating, toxic bandwagons, which is honestly the highlight of the fact that now the Chiefs are officially out. So this injury, I just read on ESPN while I was pulling up my notes from my laptop. He avoided major damage to his knee. So that means he's likely going to miss a few games next year and maybe get back for the middle of next season, which I think would be the realistic timetable for him. But nevertheless, they have a lot of questions they got to go through. I'm not talking about this team until next preseason pick show. I am done talking about them. Absolutely done. Or probably one way to do the draft show when I pick my own mock draft. Either way, I'm not talking about them for a long while. And honestly, good, because the bandwagons, book your hibernation trip to Cancun, in your cave, whatever. Go away. Stay off my X timeline. Go away. But let's get to the big marquee games of the weekend. Starting off with yours truly, the New England Patriots losing their 10-game winning streak to the Buffalo Bills. And now the Bills are 1 game back behind us in the AFC East. Now, first things first, let's give the Bills credit. When they got punched in the mouth, they responded. And they stuck it to us. And Josh Allen turned back into the 2021 demigod version that gave me PTSD of having 2 perfect games against us. And for those of you that don't remember that, well, these 2 seasons are a little bit, not quite parallel, but there's some elements that remain the same from 4 years ago. 2021, we start the season off 2-4, and we rip off 7 straight wins with our last win of that winning streak in Buffalo on a Monday night in the wind, and we win it by the score of, I want to say it was 14-10. And we win that game. Off the bye week, we lose 3 of 4 to end the regular season. Not only lose our grip in the AFC East that year, but we go in as a wild card. And guess who we play in the wild card? Oh, we got to go to Buffalo, where Josh Allen has the perfect game definition of NFL playoff football and does not punt for 2 games. Week 16 of 21 and I want to say wildcard weekend. I was going to say jokingly week 19, but there's no such thing as a week 19 wildcard weekend. And the dude literally is flawless. Similar situation with this year, although we beat Buffalo early in the season, week 5. That was when we were just starting to get our win streak back. And that was when we had Drake May's first signature moment on national primetime television. Well, we go into the bye week winning 10 straight. 10 straight. 10 straight games we win. And 11-2, so much better record. And who's the first game off the bye? Our division rival. And I thought that this is a big opportunity for us to potentially sweep our division rival. Although, for the record, it is very hard to sweep this team. And again, for those of you who hinted on Thursday's show that read my mind very well, I was hinting that I would not be surprised if they lost this game. Well, kudos to those that enjoy seeing me miserable for now. But I'm not that miserable, and I'll get into it later. They lost this game. And now you look at why they lost. Well, 5 straight touchdowns, and it started with the one before the half, and it carried over into the second half. And Josh Allen turned back into 2021 demigod against us, where he couldn't be stopped. And there were several plays in that game where I was like, I have to relive it again. Yep, Rich, you do. Which kind of sucked for the little bit. So, I mean, he didn't even throw that many yards. He threw for 193. He threw for 3 touchdowns. I thought he ran one in, and I could have sworn he did, though. Because I remember he had that quarterback blast. I'm pulling my numbers up because I know he did. It might have got called back with the hold. Let me look. And I could be right. No, James Cook actually ran twice in, right? Because the last one he was untouched, and then the one where he was supposedly stopped, but the ball broke the plane, that's the second. So that's where that's from. So now James Cook obviously had things going on the ground. So he's been on a tear the last couple of games. And then Shakir all of a sudden is good again. Dawson Knox caught 2. One of them on like a block and release type of play where he fakes he's blocking and then breaks out. And then the third down one. I'm going to save that for when I break down New England. But that was another one where I was like, God damn it. So, and when they got punched in the mouth, they responded. And there were 2 plays in that game that they made, the one being the Knox touchdown to give them the lead, and then the one late in the third quarter, it was a 3rd and long, and Kincaid's wide open. And I'm like, how can you leave him that open? That open. Number one, why in the hell are you playing cover 2 on 3rd and long? And how is he that open? Where's the backer being shoulder to shoulder with the tight end? I mean, with the backer being, with the tight end. Kincaid should not be that open on 3rd down. That is shocking to me. Which, to me, you can't have happen. Now, let's go into the thoughts of how this game unfolded a little bit. So we jump out 21-0. And I'm feeling really good. And I'm not going to lie to you, I was loving it. I tweeted during the game, this is the best Josh McDaniels play calling I've seen in years. In years. Post Brady, this is the best game I've ever seen him do this until that second half started. And as soon as that tweet happened, it flipped against me. And I was this close to sending somebody who I inadvertently mention on this show too often, that honestly doesn't deserve attention as much as I give him. I was going to send him a little small clip I had, not of me, but of a show I watched. And I was going to send him that clip because he was awfully quiet when New England was up 21-0. Mind you, he's not even a Bills fan. He is a fan of a team that has not made the playoffs in 4 years and hasn't sniffed a playoff win in almost 10 years. And he wants to talk shit to me? This dude is not even a real football fan. Okay? Mind you, this is the kind of people, unfortunately, that somehow bother me. Another pet peeve of mine, I'm going to say this. He didn't do this, but there's somebody else that does this. I hate when people call me when I'm watching a game, especially a game I have to watch to get analysis, to get observations, so I can scout what they do well. I need to see the chess match on the field. And I have fucking people that call me during games, which is my biggest pet peeve. Please do not call me while a game's on that I need to watch. Please don't. I need to get my notes. I need to get observations. I need to pick up tendencies. I have to pick up all this stuff so I can watch what's going on and then give you my thoughts and observations as to why this team lost and go into some other questions that people may have or some thoughts on the game. When you call me, I have to stop what I'm doing, and then I don't remember where I leave off sometimes, so I have to rewind. And then when I'm behind in a game, I got my friends texting me, oh, this such and such, this happened. My biggest pet peeve, if you're going to call me, wait till after the game says final, or wait till the next day when I'm done taking my notes and I have them all ready for the show. That would be great. Don't call me while I'm in the middle of trying to get my mind focused on the game because I got stuff I do before the games, okay? And it's, like I said, I have stuff I like to do before the games, that way I'm done with everything I got to do and I'm set to go. But please do not call me when I'm trying to watch the game. I've had it have multiple fucking times this year and it drives me insane. It's the biggest pet peeve I have as a football fan. Especially those knuckleheads who call me before the game's over and they say, oh, they won, Rich, and they didn't win. And if they ever lose, I've had this happen where people call me before the game says final and they say, oh, Rich, your team won. And they lose and I'm like, can you wait till the damn game says final? That's the shit that drives me absolutely insane. So that's my biggest pet peeve. I hope I'm not the only one that feels that way. Back to the topic at hand. So I was this close to sending one of my idiot friends a clip because he had nothing to say when we were up 21-0. He had nothing to say when we were up 24-7. And I know people are going to say to me now, well, You finally got humbled now. What are you going to say now that you acted like a toxic, delusional, nauseating Patriots fan? I'm pretty even-keeled. I'm pretty objective and fair this season. I know there's sometimes I get excited about certain things. I'm not going to lie. But I also am trying to establish a little bit of realism when I have. And I believe over the 4 years that I've done this show, probably now 5, I've established that. Even when we've been terrible. If you don't believe that, well, that's on you. However, I loved what I saw first half from both offense and defense. And then the start of where I got a little bit like, what? Was when Vrabel did not take a timeout with 25 seconds left. And I know it was one left he had in the game. But the fact you let 10 seconds run off, and then on top of that, you have to tell them to get on the ball and snap it, and then basically it was just 2 throwaways. Well, one scramble that ended up having to burn the timeout, and then the field goal going up 17. I feel like you kind of wanted to use that timeout, because then either way, you're still working the sidelines, and then you could have spiked the ball to get Borregales in field goal range, but again, I'm not that upset about it. I understand why he didn't take the timeout, but I'm kind of like looking at it back now. Are we sure that was the right decision? I don't know if that was Mike's decision full-heartedly. I guess he was confident in it, so I'll give Vrabel the benefit of the doubt, which was the second head-scratching decision he made prior to not going for it on 4th down against the Raiders early in the season. That's the only 2 things he's done. But other than that, Vrabel's been great. So I'm not going to beat him up that bad for that. That was a little bit head-scratching, but I'm not going to make that the reason I flipped the game. No. The 2 throws earlier did. However, somebody's got to take accountability for that second half, because that second half was a bad sign of what other teams that are closing that gap, Texans, the Broncos, the Bills, especially the 3 teams I'm scared of in the playoffs as a Patriot fan, that I don't want to see. That's a bad sign, because you put up that half of football, they're like, oh man, we can play man-to-man on their receivers. They can't separate. They had 15 total yards of offense if you take away that Travion Henderson touchdown run. That's alarming. That's alarmingly bad. You look at how Sean McDermott sent blitz packages at Drake May in the second half. That's not a good sign. And you look at how Josh Allen and company did not even get stopped for 5 straight drives and being touchdowns. That defense couldn't stop the run. There was no penetration. They couldn't cover. And every time it looked covered, John Hussey, which I'm going to get to in 2 seconds, there's certain refs on my fucking list that I just despise, and you know you're fucked if they're reffing a game. He's one of them. Back to the topic at hand. The only thing that I might have an issue with, outside of how the Bills scored 5 straight touchdown drives, 28 points in the second half, to where they looked unbeatable and Josh Allen turning demigod on us from 2021 all over again, was the one where every time it was tight coverage, they threw a fucking flag. And I listened to Vrabel's interview with WEEI this morning, and he said something interesting that I was like, I didn't track that. But that's interesting to note. They are the number 1 team, the Bills, in terms of being called for offensive holding. Yet in this game, let's try to get the numbers, folks, because again, I didn't see many times they actually got called for offensive holding. I really didn't. And let's see. 2 penalties for 15 yards. So that tells me what? 1 time you get called for holding? John Hussey, every fucking time this guy refs a game for us, we fucking lose. Big game wise. Big game wise. Every big game this motherfucker refs for us, we lose. Every time. He is on my despise list, along with Alex Kemp I can't stand. And those were the big 2. I'm trying to remember usually Bill Vinovich is fine. Carl Cheffers is fine with us. Although I feel like, what was the last Patriot game Carl Cheffers called for us? I'm trying to remember. It's been a while. And then, honestly, like, I remember Sean Smith's crew 4 years ago calling the game in Gillette. That was the game, first of 2 games Josh Allen didn't punt. His crew makes a couple questionable ones. Ron Torbert, we've seen a couple games, and we know there's some games that he's been associated with, supposedly bringing for the Chiefs. That's unofficial, but there's some times when he's reffing a Mahomes game, a la the AFC Championship game with the Bengals. Yeah, we know. But he's usually got a questionable crew at times. What I want to know is this, and this is the one call I'm going to refer to. The interception by Drake May. How do you miss Tre'Davious White tugging on Mac Hollins' arm and you don't call that a flag? Really? You don't call that a flag? And I know people are going to say, well, what about the one with Keon Coleman? That was a ticky-tack call. Honest New England fan, I did see a grab of the jersey. That's a flag. I don't have an issue with that call. I have an issue with the May interception because I'm literally seeing Tre'Davious White holding on to Mac Hollins' arm, like literally tugging his arm to where he can't beat off his man there, and they don't call it. Really? Like, you don't see that, John Hussey's crew. Yeah, every time he refs a big game for us, I know we're fucked. I know it. So, he's on my ref shit list. Now let's go to the actual feeling I have now that they are now one game ahead of the Bills in the AFCs and the remaining regular season outlook. I'm actually not as pissed as I want to be. I'm not even upset. I actually kind of expected us to lose either this game or in Baltimore. Now, what I will say, this heightens the urgency sense of us having to win at Baltimore next week. Because if you lose to Baltimore, then you're really in trouble of winning the division. And then it becomes a game of, we need the Bills to lose to Philly in 2 weeks, which I don't have a lot of faith and confidence in that happening. I don't. So, the way I look at it is, everything's still in front of us that we still want to do. We could still win the AFC East. All we have to do is win the remaining 3 games ahead on our schedule, and we win the division. It's that simple. It starts with winning against Baltimore in Baltimore, which, mind you, this team, it doesn't matter what the records are, how both teams are playing. They can both be playing great. It'll be a great game. They'll play us tough. If they're both, well, if one's having a shit year, a la 2007, a la 2020, you never know what the fuck happens. That game ends up being closer than people expect. Okay? So, the way I see this is going to be a sweaty game for us on Sunday night. And Lamar Jackson's had his way with us in 3 meetings where he won in 2022 in Gillette, and he won in 2019, and that was the game where he got introduced on Sunday Night Football. So, this is a big way to respond. Now, let's go to my thoughts. I, in theory, would be upset in years past. However, I'm not upset today, as people think I am. Like I said earlier, our goals are still in front of us to win the AFC East. We could still get a home playoff game. We could still get a top 4 seed. Now, I will say the Drake May for MVP case, that's probably cooked because Stafford's minus 300 this morning as on DraftKings. Josh Allen now is 3rd in the MVP voting. He's at plus 550, I want to say now. And Drake May is now at plus 425. So now Drake May's MVP chances are cooked, I feel like. Unless Stafford has an awful game at Seattle, which I don't see happening. Well, I could see it actually happening, but I don't think he's going to be awful for 3 games. So that's cooked. Number 1 seed's cooked. So we don't get a home playoff, the whole home field to go through Gillette, which sucks. But we could still get the 2 seed. Now, mind you, sometimes not getting home field and having this crazy win streak in the playoffs is a good thing. Look at Philly last year. Philly was fighting with the Lions for the 1 seed. They were on an 11-game winning streak last year, and they lost at Washington on a last-second touchdown from Jaden Daniels. And the Eagles looked at themselves and went, all right, we're not invincible. We're not unbeatable. But we need to clear up a couple things. And if we avoid what we did to let Washington back in that game, we could be really good. And that game had a similar feel to how this game started out, except the difference was that it wasn't a walk-off touchdown for Josh Allen. It was a touchdown with a fair amount of time left in the game, under 7 minutes to go. And we did not lose our quarterback early in the game like the Eagles did with Jalen Hurts, and then Kenny Pickett took over. So the way I see it for us is this. If we look at what we did well in the first half, well, that's something important to note. We got some QB design runs in for Drake May. The sideline throw to Kayshon Boutte, absolutely awesome. And we were able to do a very good job of protecting Drake May. And then second half, it was awful. And that's where you got to make the biggest improvement, because now when Sean McDermott plays more man coverage, you got to find a way to get Stephon Diggs open better. You got to find a way to get your other playmakers involved better. And this is why I have been saying for a little while they need that number 1 receiver, because it does a lot to how a defense game plans with you. And sometimes that number 1 receiver could really help you. And I think Diggs is good, but I don't think he's got that much left as a very good number 1 receiver like he was in Buffalo, Minnesota days. Mind you, we had no pass rush in the second half either, which I've been saying, even with the winning streak, that is a big area of concern for me. Well, it was surely missed yesterday in one of the most pivotal games for them. But I'm going to tell you right now, we could still win the AFC East. We could still get the 2 seed. But sometimes this loss might be a really good thing for this team. And they need it to remind themselves that they're not on top of the world. They're not invincible. They're not unbeatable. You forget what it's like to lose. And I thought Diggs made the perfect comment, because sometimes you need a game like this. But Vrabel said a great response that I thought was also great. It's about how you respond the next week, because then it's really not a loss to you if you respond well, which he's absolutely right. And that's why this Sunday with Baltimore coming up is the biggest game this team needs to go win and do. Because if you win that game, you control business, you're still in the driver's seat, and then you got 2 divisional games left, and hopefully you take care of business the rest of the way. But that's how you're going to have to do it. Now, again, I feel like that this group is still really good. Now, am I concerned as far as their Super Bowl hopes? No. I'm absolutely not concerned. I saw a lot of good signs in a team that can still do it. I'm concerned with how they play in the second half. I'll give you that. But no way am I concerned. I'm not giving up my hope that this team can win the AFC. I'm not giving up that hope. No way. The AFC's wide open. I saw Denver a couple times this year where I'm like, I'm not all the way there on Denver. I know what they're really good at that I'm a little worried about. But I'm not giving up on my New England Patriots. I'm not concerned. Not concerned as far as their long-term hopes. We could still get the 2 seed. Remember, the Lions had home field in the NFC last year and they lost their first game. Mind you, Denver may get the 1 seed, and if they play Buffalo in the second round, that's a tough first-round draw for them. First playoff game-wise. So I look at that and say, maybe us losing this game and kind of hollowing ourselves a little bit might be a good thing. And people don't realize it until you go, that's what they needed. And that's what the Eagles needed last year, and it worked out well for them. And I'm not saying we're going to be like the Eagles, but I'm saying there is a way where this works well for you, and it can work out that way, where sometimes this is good. It's hard to sweep a team like the Bills. It's hard to do. The fact that we got a win against them early in Buffalo was not on my expectation. In New England, I thought we would have surprisingly won. But again, give them credit. They won. Josh Allen became Superman like he is a lot of times. I will say, though, they are beatable, Buffalo. They're playing really good ball now, but they are beatable. And we've seen it with previous games. Look at the Miami game. Look at the Texans game. Look at the first matchup with New England. There are ways where you can do it. Now, one last point, and then we're going to go on to Green Bay and Denver, because I don't really like the NFL slate as far as a lot to go over. Will Campbell, our left tackle, did not play this game. You saw his absence being absolutely noted, because Vidarian Lowe, you suck. You cannot be the starting left tackle for the playoffs. You're not that good. Will Campbell's coming back for the playoffs. Milton Williams, our second defensive tackle to help out Christian Barmore, he's going to be back soon. And then Robert Spillane was not playing this game. I thought it was just me that I didn't see him a lot. Hopefully Spillane's good, because he's been doing pretty good during the winning streak. My biggest thing is get this team healthy for the playoffs, and then I'll worry about the things I'm concerned about going into the playoffs. The biggest priority is get everybody healthy for the playoff run, and then we'll worry about matchups, all that stuff from the road. But in short, I am not concerned. I'm not going to be upset that we lost. Our goals are still in front of us. And you know what I'm going to do? Since my little friend who wants to be a little shit and 99 rage bait and instigate, I got a little message for him. You now gave me the new moniker I'm going to use. Because now it's Rich First the World, baby. That's what this is. The Chiefs bandwagons are out of my way. He's a rage baiter. He's going to try to bait me. Well, guess what? I know what you said early in the season, and I'm not going to expose that text message you sent me. Our group chat, actually. But let's just say it was not positive vibes coming from you on New England. Okay? And don't say that, you were rooting for us. No, you weren't. Because I know what you said weeks ago, and I won't say it on this show. Okay? But I will say, there are some people that want to see me happy and have a nice playoff run. And they know who they are. Okay? So it's not directed at them. It's for that little rage baiter that doesn't watch a snap of football and is playing a game that's older than his age. I'll put it that way. But I'll leave it at that. All right? And in case you want to know, it's not like GTA 5 or something like that. It's not that. I don't even play it. But let's just put it this way. It's a game that came out when I was little, and it's probably an E game. Let's put it that way. No, it's an E game. All right. Now let's go to Packers Broncos. But before we go into that game, let me go over Ravens Bengals a quick thought. The Bengals quit on Sunday against the Ravens. They quit. And Joe Burrow's press conference on Friday gave me Andrew Luck retirement vibes. And that showed on Sunday. So the Bengals quit, and I think Joe Burrow, honestly, he wants out of Cincinnati, or he's going to pull an Andrew Luck. That's what I think is going to happen. Because what Sunday showed, they quit. You don't score 0 points and play that bad. And then you have somebody say, glad we beat your ass or something like that after the game. That tells me, yeah, your team quit and you quit as well. And that's a bad look for Joe Burrow. And I know he's had his frustrations with the Bengals organization, but that's not what you want to say leading up to a game. Even though you were technically out, but that's not a good look on field-wise. That you guys look like you quit against the Ravens. Let's go to Green Bay, Denver, because this is the next big marquee game of the weekend. I was rooting for Green Bay. Denver's going to get the 1 seed. And I thought Matt LaFleur did a really good job in the first half of getting Jordan Love to move the football. And they had a couple plays where one of them in the early part of the game, I think it was Dobbs, where it hit his hands and it just sailed off. And I'm like, dang, Dobbs, you got to catch that. You got to catch that. And Bo Nix, they go right down the field. They start to get in a rhythm. And, you know, the guy has 300 yards, 302 yards, 4 touchdowns. Courtland Sutton gets behind that secondary, which has looked a little bit average this season. He has a couple long plays. He ends up scoring. But Denver, not only is their pass rush really good, but their offense now is in a rhythm. And this is, again, I don't expect this to happen all the time, but when they're at home, you could tell they're a different team. And this is the problem. Because when you get them in a rhythm at home and that defense gets the altitude that is not in favor of the opponent and they're used to it and they can rush the passer like they can, and their offense is used to the high altitude and they're moving the ball in rhythm like they were against a very good Green Bay defense, even with Parsons getting banged up with the injury, that is a long, long game. But the turning point was that Jordan Love interception in the third quarter where he kind of just heaved it up, and it wasn't Riley Moss. That was the second one. I believe this first one, and I'm going to pull up my numbers here. It was Pat Surtain, the first one. That one was, what are you doing? And these are the type of throws that Jordan Love has to stop doing, because this is what I say by growing the fuck up. Like, get rid of the ball. You know this pass rush feasts on third down, and you know is feasting on fourth down. You cannot hold on to the ball. You got to just throw it away. And these are the little things he's got to grow up with. You sat behind Rodgers for 3 years. And I'm tired of saying this stuff because this man, he's got to be 27, right, guys? Because let's just say he came in the league, 2021? So he's got to be 26, 27, easily. When are we going to take the training wheels off and stop coddling him like Dan Orlovsky does every fucking quarterback? Which, by the way, that dude flips his MVP takes like somebody flipping burgers at McDonald's, Burger King, or flipping pancakes at IHOP. Holy smokes, dude, just fucking pick an MVP candidate and stick with it. Why are you flip-flopping your pick like it's fucking flipping pancakes at IHOP or flipping burgers at a fast food chain? Like, fucking have a pick, bro. And this is why I can't even listen to ESPN anymore. I have people that are watching that do listen to ESPN. Please don't send me clips on them. I don't care about them. I really don't. They do not. Honestly, if I'm being totally real, I don't think they provide analysis that, to me, is worthy of taking them seriously. It's just clickbaiting content is what I call it. Now, me, I don't do it as bad as they do. I don't even do clickbait content. I give you straightforward what it is. Okay? I come up with my own thoughts, and that's how I look at it. All right? Now, there's some points where, I would agree with them that I'm probably going to say on a few episodes depending on the outcome or what I see in a game, which I think a lot of people do sometimes, but I provide my own thought and opinions, and I don't clickbait as bad as they do. I don't even take their analysis seriously. That's why with Dan Orlovsky, I honestly don't like watching him. I can't stand watching him. Back to this game at hand. Jordan Love's got moments he's got to grow the hell up. Like, when's the training wheels come off? The throw to Surtain, that was dumb. You got to lead that ball in stride. And I know Surtain made a great play, but that's the type of stuff we're talking about. And you could not throw that ball away. And it just felt like, you know what? That was what doomed him in. I mean, you cannot win games holding onto the ball that long, especially on third down when you got to, when they're pin their needles up or something like that, right? And they just feast to the quarterback with Benito and Zach Allen and those pass rushers that can get home. Greenlaw, who's really good. I mean, DJ Jones is a run stopper. I mean, those guys, Franklin Myers can rush the passer. I mean, they have a lot of guys that can just give you problems. And they didn't really run the ball that great. R.J. Harvey was really the one that had something going. Everybody else really didn't get anything going. But Troy Franklin had nearly 100 yards. He had 85 in the score. The one throw in the red zone, where he throws it to Jordan Humphrey. How was that not picked? I mean, that was so underthrown. I was shocked that they didn't pick that off. But you know what? It's hard to beat a team when you've got the defense the way they're playing, and then when they can get in a rhythm, they are tough to beat. And that's why I said, like, it's hard for them to lose 2 or 3 of those games at home, the remainder bit of the way as the 1 seed. It's not going to happen. So that's why now, like, I feel like Denver's going to be the 1 seed. It's likely that they're going to clinch by week 17 because I don't think they're going to lose at Kansas City. I don't think they're going to lose to Jacksonville at home Sunday. I just don't see it. So by week 17, they're clinching the 1 seed. And I think the best bet for New England is to just get the 2 seed and pray you don't play the Texans first round or Buffalo. Because if you play the Texans or the Buffalo first round, then we're sweating off the rip. But so that's really what I look at when I see both Green Bay and Denver. Now, as far as the Micah Parsons injury, what does it do for Green Bay's Super Bowl hopes, Rich? It takes a huge hit because now the guy they gave up 2 first-round picks for, the guy they believe was the missing piece to this team getting from a playoff contending team to a Super Bowl contending team, now we kind of lower that bar down a little bit for them. And now we start to say with Green Bay, okay, well, can they get to an NFC championship game? Can they win it all without Micah Parsons? I'm going to tell you, no, I don't think they can. Because I think when you have that guy on defense, it makes everybody's job easier. Well, now with that guy being out for the year, Devontae Wyatt, Lucas Van Ness, Rashawn Gary, Slayton, those guys are going to have to win one-on-ones, or somebody's going to have to step up, and they're going to have to make plays without somebody getting the attention and drawing double teams, sometimes triple teams. That's going to be hard for them to do because this defense was solid last year, but not great. Can they be solid without their ace is the question. I don't know if they can. And especially with Jordan Love on that offense, I don't know if he's going to grow up soon, and I know that he's got upside as far as moments where he looks really good, but then I watch recent games, and I look at this game, for example. I look at Carolina. I look at Philadelphia, where I'm like, dude, you got to grow up, man, at some point. Take the training wheels off. You have to be able to grow up and understand this game. Like, we can't coddle them. And I like Matt LaFleur as an offensive mind, but I feel like at times he kind of coddles his quarterbacks way too much. And that's, I think, a weakness in his coaching in a way. And I could see it on field performance translating. Sean Payton, I know there's moments where him and Bo Nix get into it, but they eventually clear that out to where they iron it out, and they're able to win off a lot of those times. Or it gets kind of brushed off but again, Sean Payton's won a Super Bowl with Drew Brees. Bo Nix, obviously he's a young player, and he's learning in this game, but he obviously is a very good processor in Sean's offense. So as long as it translates to wins, which for the most part for them it has, there's nothing really to be concerned with that argument. And it didn't happen Sunday, but I'm saying in previous instances. So I want to talk about now the Lions and the Rams, because I think now definitively the Lions are officially cooked. Because the way I look at the NFC now, they're not making the playoffs. And I'm for real this time, they're not. Because this game, you had a 24-17 lead on this team. You were on a roll offensively. And then I bet I don't even have to take a look at the numbers. Yet I'll do it for the hell of it. Let me guess for what the reason was. And let me just take a guess. No, it wasn't actually. That wasn't the reason. Because I was going to say, if it's another one of those damn things, that's rough. But for them to be up 24-14 and then the way they were going, I was like, okay, Detroit, you have a real shot now to stay in this because of the Packers-Bears game. And if you won this game, you would be one game behind in that division race with Green Bay and Chicago meeting on Saturday. And that would have been huge to be a game behind. But because now you lost, and now because you look at Green Bay and Chicago gaining wins yesterday, and 3 games left, you have to be flawless. Mind you, your last game of the season is in Chicago, where they might be a team that is going to need it. And you better beat the Steelers. You better beat the Vikings. And you better hope the Niners beat the Bears in order for you to make that a clinching game to get in. And that's realistic, let's be honest. But I don't think this team is as good as people have imagined them to be. By the way, do you remember those people that said take the under in the Lions win total? Who was that again? Oh, yeah, that's me. So I was the one, and I remember saying I like the Rams over in wins. I might have not announced it on the show, but I remember saying a little bit. And over in the Patriots wins, which cashed, by the way. But I was the one that said the number one guarantee I have was under the Lions win total. And I was right, because I said losing both coordinators is going to be the reason that they're not as good as people think they are. Well, yeah, Dan Campbell calling plays, that has not translated to a lot of wins. Let's put it that way. Because that second half, the defense unraveled and their offense stalled. Punt, 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 field goal, touchdown, and then one play for 21 yards to end the game. So when you go start that second half with 3 punts in a row, and then they score a field goal, touchdown, well, really 2 touchdowns off the punts, that's a problem. Because if your secondary can't stop this offense, which the Rams offense is a hard offense to stop, by the way, you put your offense in a very compromised position, because now you have to play catch up. You go away from Jahmyr Gibbs because you have to throw. And their passing game has not been great this year. Jameson Williams has been wildly inconsistent. Just ask me in fantasy. He sucked for me a couple games this year, especially at the start. St. Brown, really good, but now he's drawing double teams. And then Sam Laporta banged up. He didn't play today. He's probably not going to play the remainder of the year if I had to guess. My point is, the Lions offense is not what they were the last 2 to 3 years. We remember them under Ben Johnson. It's not. It's not there. So this offense has taken a step back. But on top of that, your defense can't get stops. And when you give up 17 points in the third quarter, that puts you immediately to pin your ears back and really figure out, okay, well, how aggressive can we be? And that's where, again, when the defense can't get stops, you have to kind of figure out what's our best way to slow them down. Well, you can't get a run game going with Gibbs. That's a problem. And honestly, the best way I could say to stop the Lions is just stop Jahmyr Gibbs in the backfield. Don't let him go north and south. Let him go east and west. And if you pursue Gibbs and you take him down, you don't let him gain many yards, that's it. But Jahmyr Gibbs, you have to tackle him behind the backfield. You do that, they don't do anything. And then you let Jared Goff beat you, well, let him beat you. Because he doesn't strike me as a guy that you're scared of letting him beat you. Now for the Rams. The first half was a little shaky. Stafford had a pick, and then they got a little bit going on offense. The Kyron touchdown, they got going a little bit. And then second half, that throw to Puka up the right sideline. As Tom Brady said, it was a piss missile. We call it a dot. That was perfectly placed. You couldn't even do anything better with it. But this offense, love the over for a reason, folks. I hope you took it for those of you that like betting. I love the over in that game. I did. And that was the only bet I won this weekend. I paired it with something. But, yeah. That was, and Devontae Adams, he got nicked, which that's an interesting injury to monitor going into Monday, because Monday, if he is expected to miss time, Seattle's looming in Seattle. That's a big game for the Rams, because that game essentially puts them a step closer to not only clinching the NFC West, but the 1 seed. Philly's not a threat. The South is definitely not a threat. And then the North, the Bears, they're technically a game behind them, but they got Green Bay. And if they lose to Green Bay, and if the Rams win Thursday, that's going to kind of wrap the NFC up in a way for them. And I'm not betting against Sean McVay in the playoffs. I'm not doing it. I've seen it before. And I look at the rest of the NFC, still not stolen the Bears. Green Bay now with Parsons out kind of puts them back down a level. The South, I don't know what's wrong with Tampa. I'm going to get to them in a minute because I do want to briefly talk about them a little bit. Detroit's done. And then the Niners are interesting, but I don't know how far their injuries can get them still. I still like Seattle, even though offensively, I don't know what happened yesterday. And I know Lou Anarumo's a really good defensive coordinator. But offensively, they are struggling, and that's concerning, considering what the game ahead looms for them. So I look at the Seattle offense, and I'm like, if you're kicking field goals now instead of touchdowns, I am getting very, very concerned with your ability to win games when Sam has to be a guy that manages the game. I'm a little concerned with that as far as scoring goes, because this is turning into Sam Darnold. The further the season goes, the further he crumbles and he will just implode. Meaning that he will suck at the worst times and he will, right on cue, have the worst game he plays ever. Look at last year with the Rams in Arizona in the playoffs. Got sacked 9 times. Not all on him, but even look at the Lions game last year in Detroit when the division was on the line. He missed some throws. And again, I'm going to watch a little bit on Thursday. I'm going to be a little behind on that game, but I'm going to try to watch that game while after I get back from something I have to cover. But Seattle, if you can't score, you're in trouble. You're in real trouble. The Colts are not serious with Phillip Rivers. Don't even get me started with him. Dude, don't. Oh, he threw a touchdown in his first game back. They're not. They're done. That team is not going anywhere. What are they now? 8-6, and what are they? A game behind Houston, and they got to play Houston. What? Last game of the year, right, or something like that? No. Nope. I'm not taking them serious. And Seattle's defense is still really good, which is going to give them a chance to win a game. Lou Anarumo, still one of the top defensive coordinators, but the Colts, they're done. They're not going anywhere. And I don't care that Monday night they have the Niners. I don't care. No, they're not. I'm not talking about Panthers Saints again. I'm not doing it. Chargers Chiefs I'm not talking about. All right, let me go to Atlanta Tampa. Because when I look at what happened to Tampa, the Bucs collapsed. They had a 14-point lead. And I'm hearing stuff that I don't expect from a Todd Bowles coach team. But let's go to the moment they were up 28-14, which was in the fourth quarter, early bit. And I'm thinking, okay, Tampa, this is why I picked you to win the game. And then Atlanta goes on 3 straight scoring drives the rest of the way that sandwiched in between a Baker pick and a punt. And when I'm seeing a defense getting torched by Kyle Pitts, who looked like the 5th overall pick that he was supposed to be coming out of Florida 4 years ago, I'm like, wow. They're not even trying to draw double coverage towards him. Nothing. When I'm seeing that, combined with an offense that throws a ill-timed interception at the worst moment, Baker Mayfield, that gave Atlanta the confidence that, okay, we're moving the ball on these guys. They can't stop Kyle Pitts. We can move the ball on these guys. And of all people, it's Kirk Cousins, who looked like shit against the Jets and the Saints and the Dolphins. And you can't stop him? What? Come on now. Come on now. I mean, that field goal drive, they went 9 plays and 45 yards. And Raheem Morris is talking shit after the game. Bro, you're not making the playoffs. You're 5-9. You are not going anywhere. You have no first-round pick. You have no first-round pick. You gave it to the Rams. What you talking shit after the game for? But then, this is what's most alarming. I'm hearing people that say that Todd Bowles has lost the locker room. Game over. Game over. This team's in. This is. I don't want to make an alarm sound, but. This is a team that's done. This is a team that is signaling collapse incoming. Because this team, mind you guys, was 7-2 at one point. Or 6-2, actually. They were 6-2. And that game against New England started them losing. Now we're looking at 5 of 6. And I know Baker got banged up with the Rams, but they had a lead on Buffalo and they blew that game. You had a lead on Atlanta. You blew that game now. Your only win is Arizona, where you barely held on. And then you lose to the Saints the week before. This team is signaling right now to me of, we want Todd Bowles fired at the end of the year. And that's not a good sign you want in the playoffs. It's just simply not. You cannot have that happen. And honestly, I think that's a red glaring alarm going off that tells me I would not be surprised if this team does not make the playoffs. And I know Carolina lost in New Orleans yesterday, which didn't help Tampa a little bit. But I think Carolina knows, snap, we beat Tampa. We could end this division. Because they're not going to do anything. And I feel like Tampa is just, if it's true that he's lost the locker room, that's bad. And Mike Evans is visibly frustrated first game back, so obviously he wasn't happy with something. I just look at this and I'm saying this is a very, very bad sign of a team that is falling apart at the worst time possible. You just can't have that happen. Especially losing to 2 division rivals, that's going to hurt you come in the standings, because now you split with Atlanta. And this game, you could have went up for the sweep on Atlanta. You lose to the Saints, and that would have been huge, because you would have been, and I want to make sure my math is correct on this, you would have been 4-0 in the division going into this game with Carolina on Sunday, and now you're 2-2, and you have to win against Carolina to even assure yourselves a step closer to a playoff spot. But that's not even guaranteed. But this offense is severely in trouble. Emeka Buka, by the way, he has not looked like the player in the first half of the year that he was. Travion Henderson's the guy now that is taking over Offensive Rookie of the Year odds as of this morning on DraftKings. Ibuka's second. So if I'm looking at Tampa, I'm like, this is a very, very bad sign of a team that, to me, looks like they want the season to be home. They want it to be done. and they're not worthy of being a playoff team, which is disappointing for a team I thought would be a second half team that could really surge, and I thought a team that when they got healthy, it could be a dangerous team. And I think talent-wise they are, but results on the field, they're not putting it together, and they are alarmingly bad. And that's a bad sign. So Tampa, they're screaming, we want the season to be over, and that's not a good sign. I'm going over any more quick games. Trevor Lawrence, 6 touchdowns against the Jets. It's really good for somebody that I proclaimed a bust weeks ago. And I say that because he hasn't lived up to the expectation of a number 1 pick. We got to give him credit, though. That was a really good game for him, albeit against the Jets. But it's a good sign for Jacksonville. It is. And that's going to be a 2-horse race between them and the Texans winning the South now. I'm hoping the Texans can win the South that way. I don't stress as much first round for my New England Patriots' sake. But, again, I think that great game for Trevor Lawrence. ETN, did a really good job. 3 touchdown passes out of the backfield. And then I'm not even going to get into Vikings-Cowboys because both teams are basically done anyway. So there's no point. So here's how we're going to go over the schedule for the next 2 weeks. So here's what we're going to do briefly. I'm going to record this show on Wednesday. And I'm going to get it out to you guys by Thursday morning at the latest because I have something to cover on Thursday. And I'm not going to be able to get the show on time on a normal Thursday. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to record Thursday's episode on Wednesday and have it out by Thursday morning. And then that will be the picks for NFL Week 16. We're going to have some guarantees. It's hard to find something on the card. I'm not going to lie. I don't really love much. And then I'm going to give you guys, since we kind of picked the playoff bracket, I might throw a couple college football guarantees in. I don't love much this week because I think this is a really bad first-round slate other than Alabama, Oklahoma, and Miami A&M. So what I might end up doing is I might throw it on the end. I don't really think Thursday's show is going to be that long, to be honest, because we kind of did the bracket pick last Thursday. So it's going to be NFL Week 16 picks. And then we're going to go into next Monday where it's going to be one show again because the holidays, everybody wants to spend time with their family. Please do. It's a great time to, kind of de-stress and enjoy it with your loved ones. And honestly, I'm going to do that after I'm recording next week's episode on Monday. And then that episode next Monday will be focused solely on a little bit of analysis from Week 16. And I'm not going to go over Niners-Colts on Monday night. I don't have any interest in that game, to be honest with you. So that will be a little analysis next Monday, followed by previews of the second-round matchups. And we're going to pick the matchups the following week. So we're going to pick the second-round matchups the following Monday after Christmas. Okay? Everybody follow me? So, in a nutshell, Thursday, NFL Week 16, picks, guarantees, and some small plays for college football first-round playoff games. Next Monday will be a brief analysis on Week 16 for the NFL, maybe some on college football, and then some picks for NFL Week 17. Then we go into the following Monday after Christmas, where it'll be Week 17 analysis. I might throw Week 18 picks along with college football quarterfinal picks. That way, we have it all covered. You don't have to worry about it. And honestly, that might be what I end up doing. I might end up waiting till the Friday after New Year's Day. That's possible because by Week 18, they usually do those Saturday games, and that'll be after the quarterfinal matchup. So we'll play it by ear. But for a nutshell, we'll have the show out Thursday, but I'm recording Wednesday night. So we'll have the Week 16 picks out for Thursday for NFL. We're going to have next Monday be Week 16 analysis for NFL. And we're going to have that be a little bit talked on Miami A&M, depending on how that game goes. Alabama, Oklahoma, same thing. Or barring an Oregon JMU upset or a Tulane Ole Miss upset. So next Monday will be NFL Week 16 analysis, Week 17 picks, and some talk on the first round college football matchups. And that will be the only show next week. So Monday next week, the only show. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so that way you guys get all the latest content needed for this remaining football season. We are now getting into the crunch time. Contenders. We're going to be talking about the playoff picture. Who do we think has a realistic shot going to the Super Bowl? We're going to have a ton of that. We're going to have analysis. We're going to have guest appearances. I'm working on bringing a couple of my friends in because we got to get some guests on here to make it fun a little bit. We're going to have a few. Don't worry. I'm putting it all together now so that way we can get it in time for the crunch moments of the season, the exciting moments. Plus, you guys want to see some reactions after the playoffs. You do not want to miss it. We still have a lot more content ahead. You don't want to miss out. You can also follow me on Rumble. We're trying to build a community over there. Give me a follow on Rumble, guys. We want to bring more members into the Loungetime family. We can't do it without you guys, so make sure you guys give us a follow on Rumble. Hit subscribe button on YouTube. We want to grow this family together on Loungetime. And thank you guys for dealing with all my blabbering. And I hope you guys find this show informational. You guys can also follow me at LoungeTimePod on X. If you have a question for the show, please send it to me. I promise I will give you attention and I will answer it on the show. All you have to do is just ask me, or heck, leave it in the comments and I'll make a note of it and I will make sure to address it. I'll even give you a shout out. I've done it for one guy already that did it last year and it was awesome to do. Guys, thank you so much for tuning to Lounge Time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys on Thursday, where I will have my NFL Week 16 picks and my guarantees. Have a great Monday night, everybody, and I'll see you guys on Thursday.